I've just got a few announcements to make, not many this time, because we've got a very full program and Liam needs to start fairly pronto. So what I'd just like to mention is Paracon was a great success recently. How many of you happened to go to Paracon? Oh yeah, a few of you. It was a wonderful weekend, like-minded people, lots of good speakers. And yeah, did you enjoy it?
The drummer was on. I loved the drummer.
The drummer?
Kevin Kelly.
Oh.
Foreign.
Oh.
Not many people went to see him.
No.
It was fantastic.
Okay. No, it was excellent. It was difficult to choose because there were three speakers on at one time and you had to choose between them, which made it very difficult. The highlight for me personally, and certainly for those into UFOs, was Travis Walton.
Yeah.
Don't you reckon? He was absolutely fabulous. What was wonderful about him was he's a very down-to-earth, very authentic, very truthful, very credible man. Those of you who don't know the story of Travis Walton, briefly what it's about is in 1975 he was with a crew doing their wood cutting work in the Apache Mountains of California. Apache Sitgreave Mountains of California, and they saw a light in the forest. When they went closer, they noticed a glowing, smooth, glass-like UFO hovering near the ground. Travis was the only one who decided to get out of the vehicle, the utility they were in, and walk towards the UFO. He still says today, "Why did I get out of the truck?"
Why not?
He had the urge to get out of the truck and go closer. When he got closer, obviously the object began to vibrate and the magnetic field increased, and in the process a beam of blue light hit him in the chest and he was lifted and thrown, and he says he believes he was clinically dead. What happened next was that the craft lifted him up and took him on board for 5 days, during which they did healing on him. His crew in the meantime were so freaked out, they got in the truck and took off, thinking that he was dead. After a while they decided that wasn't the right thing to do and they went back, but there was no sign of Travis. He disappeared. And a huge police search was mounted. For 5 days they could not find him anywhere. He then turns up in a phone booth, making a phone call to his brother, saying, "Come and pick me up." He's in a state of catatonic shock and it takes him months to recover. During this time, the whole world has heard about the story. It went viral. And along with the whole world came all the skeptics you can imagine. And the military included, debunking the fact that he'd had a real experience. And Philip Klass, who's a well-known, notorious UFO debunker, was one of the cruelest of all of them. He never once approached Travis in person, never once phoned him in person, but managed to make all sorts of deductions about what had happened to Travis and publish them. So Travis actually went through a long time of a very difficult and challenging time. He had journalists with cameras poking it in through windows of his home to try and spy on him and his family, to report whatever they could find. So, you know, it's not easy having alien contact and making it known publicly, because there are going to be those out to debunk what you say. And the crew and himself had 6 polygraph tests, during which they all proved they were telling the truth. But the authorities decided not to reveal the results, causing them to have more and more polygraph tests. So it was very, very challenging. So what he basically said about his contact, because we had a wonderful dinner with Travis in person. There were 30 of us, and in between courses we were able to ask questions. And Michael Ney actually recorded and filmed the dinner with Travis, and we're going to post it on YouTube in due course. What was wonderful was he said basically he was going to be dead unless they had taken him onto the craft and healed him. All he remembers on the craft was seeing 3 short grey figures in red suits. When he looked at them in his traumatized state, he was shocked to the core because they didn't look human. And he said those eyes, those piercing black eyes, stayed with him for months, and he had nightmares about those eyes. What also happened then, after a while, a humanoid figure came in with a helmet, and the humanoid led him into a hangar-like structure where he saw 2 other hovering UFOs. They then took him into another room where several other humanoids, not with helmets, came to him and placed something over his mouth, and that blacked him out. And that's all he remembers about the whole 5-day experience, until he found himself on the road in a state of shock, wondering where he'd been. So it's a wonderful story, and it's one of the most credible UFO alien encounters of all time. So that was our Paracon experience and our dinner, which was wonderful. Now, we're going to show, because it's very applicable to the Travis story, there's a new documentary by Jennifer Stein, an American producer. And we're going to have a screening of this film called The Travis Story, possibly around the 3rd or 4th July. We haven't quite secured the venue. We've done a tentative booking, but you will be informed via email. If you're not on my email list and you wish to be, please notify Marie or Anthony at the door. Now, we've got 2 speakers today. We're very fortunate. The first one is Liam Freaney. And Liam came to my attention about 2 years ago when he contacted me with an extraordinary sighting he'd had over the Wetherill Park area, where he'd seen a large craft with small orbs coming out of it, and he'd filmed it. That was the start of a long relationship which we still have, and we stay in touch with each other every time something interesting happens to Liam. I'm going to just quote to you what he says here about how this all started for him. A little over 2 years ago, while living in Western Sydney, I started to feel the urge to watch the sky and clouds. I bought a telescope, and shortly after that I purchased some massive binoculars and found myself scanning the daytime sky. Within a week of buying the binoculars, I woke up on March the 18th, 2013, and was convinced that today was the day. At 5:30 that morning, I was standing outside gazing at the sky, with no doubt that I was going to see a UFO. Nothing appeared, so I carried on with my day. Shortly after lunch, I was having a coffee outside when a strange object appeared in the sky, and for the next 45 minutes, I watched in amazement as it moved slowly above me. Since that day, I have witnessed UFOs on a regular basis and have done my best to capture them on film. Now, there's a lot more to Liam's story, and I'm not going to steal his thunder by telling you, but it includes black helicopters and the usual other surveillance, etc., etc. But I'm going to let him tell you all about what's happened to him in the last 2 years. Liam, welcome.
Thank you, Marianne. All right. I'm not used to public speaking, so I'm quite nervous, but I'm sure they'll go as we carry on.
There you go.
Okay. Huh? Yeah, I think that's for the camera, so need the mic. All right. So yeah, as Mariana said, really hadn't had anything to do with or interested in UFOs at all. Wasn't part of my life at all before this event that happened, but since it's happened, I do remember a few events. I might stand back this way. Can you see through there? I don't want to block the view. So yeah, when I was growing up, when I was 7, my family and I stopped. I lived in a place called Arthur's Pass, which is in the South Island of New Zealand. It's a population of about 30 people. Very cold. Anyway, we were driving back down to our house, which is out of the village, and we stopped the car, and there's a massive blue ball sitting above the river. it's a narrow river and like the Beeley Valleys, very steep mountains. There's a huge blue ball sitting above the river. So we had time to get out of the car, stand there and watch it. And probably, I don't know, for a couple of minutes before it went gone. And it didn't go up, it followed the valley and down the next valley. And so I remember sort of waking up in the morning telling Mum, well, you know, what was that? And she said, oh, it was probably just a UFO. So basically, you know, that was sort of when I was 7. When I was, my next memory I have of a UFO was when I was 18. I was driving from the West Coast back to Christchurch on a motorbike in the middle of the day and just saw basically a big shining light sitting above the trees next to the road, which got me off my motorbike and stood there and stared at it, and once again I just took off. These are all up in the same area, by the way. The next one, when I was 24, I was out deer shooting one night, and so it's probably 2 or 3 in the morning. I walk out and I've got to walk across a big flat area of grass. The stars are like the size of your thumbnail, beautiful sky, and one caught my eye just zigzagging across the sky. Not like a satellite, it was zigzagging. And so I lay down in the grass and watched it, and it was joined by another one. So there are 2 zigzagging all over the sky, right, like the whole sky. And I watched them for maybe 20 minutes before I lost them. And I'm like, okay, that was weird. So that was back when I was 18. I'm 41 now. So in between that period, I hadn't really given it any thought, any interest, except for end of 2012, I bought a telescope. I'm like, my wife was like, what on earth is this for? And I mean, I don't know, I just wanted to buy a telescope, and I think I've got a photo of it later on. So basically I bought a telescope, but started to get a bit of an interest in what's going on in the sky. And at first my wife was going, great, you've got a hobby, because I just work and work and work. And then I came home with these binoculars. And she's like, what on earth? I said, I don't know, I had to buy them. And so basically I started looking at the sky. During the day I'd just look at clouds, scanning around the clouds, and I was just getting convinced that I was going to see something that shouldn't be there. So it went on for, I don't know, maybe a week. And then I woke up on the 18th of March. This happened before. This was in 2012, over where this whole story and what I'm going to talk about happened. We call it the hubcap because a lot of other people call it a hubcap, but what it is a large craft over Prospect Reservoir. But because it's so clear and it's so good, it's obviously not real. And I've got a lot of that, but I don't really care. So basically,
he's got the original iPhone 3 with the photo in it. So if anyone wants to,
and anything I'll get out in the open. If anyone wants to look at any of the original footage, I'm more than happy to show them original stuff. So this is just all put together for today. So that was in 11. Okay, we'll go back to the 18th of March. When I wake up, I go to work. I was at work at sort of 5 o'clock every morning. I was always at work early. It was a recycling station, skipping business, recycling plant, out in the open. And as you can see, backed right onto Prospect Reservoir. Sorry.
That's actually
Yeah.
Can we dim the lights, please?
Twitching the lights down. Oh, by the way, this is my good friend Shrub, and without him, I wouldn't be doing this because I am useless with putting stuff like this together. So he's helping me out. Is there a light switch anywhere we could turn the lights down, please?
Very, very dark. Oh, that's something else.
Can you estimate roughly the size of that last craft?
It's over the reservoir. It's got to be over 100 feet wide.
Yeah. Little one.
Little one. Oh, it's a big one from what you're about to see, from what I'm used to seeing. So basically, that's the position of it. That's Prospect Reservoir, and our business was right tucked in behind it. So anyway, at 5 in the morning, I'm standing there, convinced, looking up at this point in the sky that I'm going to see. Am I talking to this? I can see a UFO. I didn't see one, but I was convinced it was there. So anyway, like Marianne said, I carried on with my day, and it was after lunch. I'm sitting outside having a coffee outside my office, just looking up at the blue sky, and what I see is what I thought was a parachute coming down. It just looked like a white canopy of a parachute, except it had to have been ginormous because in front of it flew a jumbo jet, and it was behind the jumbo jet, and it was just huge. So it was sitting there, it had 3 white orbs or bright lights surrounding it. And then shortly afterwards, it starts spinning around in an anti-clockwise position. So it's just rotating slowly, coming towards me. But like I said, this incident happened for 45 minutes, moving slowly, just rotating. And then it starts spitting out, in the total, 20 white balls of light. And basically they surround the main craft. And then, I'll put this down, what happened was they all joined together quickly and made a big diamond pattern in the sky and flashed all at the same time. It just went boosh, and then they just drifted off slowly. And then within 10 seconds they came back together into a backwards L shape, lit up and then drifted off. And then say 15 of them I never saw again, but the other 5 stayed with the main craft. And it just stayed there and it just spun anti-clockwise, and these just floated around it. Obviously this is the first sighting, so I don't have cameras, I have an iPhone 3. So I went, oh, and I just held it up, and I'm talking, the other people are with me, and I'm filming it, we're discussing it. Look, there it is, what's it doing? So on and so on. And I only filmed it for 55 seconds, I think. Anyway, the event lasted for 45 minutes, and it basically ended when a fighter jet came screaming over to it, and everyone left at that time. So basically that is the trigger and the start of this 2-year journey I've been on. I will maybe give a brief rundown that I did a wee talk for Mariana's group about 3 months after this happened, but it was only for about 45 minutes. Since then she's been asking me, and I was going to do one last year, but I was prevented from doing it, and I'll get into that today about who prevented me from doing it and why. So basically this is the original footage. It's on an angle held by the iPhone. Do we have the audio?
The way that they're coming down like that, Liam, I think they're parachuters. But now I've lost the other 2. Oh no. See, look, the other one's gone way over there. Way up high.
You can imagine my disappointment looking at the footage, and there's nothing there.
Just that work that he's doing. Where's the other one gone? There, look, it's way over there now. And now I'm seeing lots of bloody white. Yeah. That's just. Well, no, the idea is they should be with me the whole time. Oh, that'd be a bit hard. That thing there is weird. That's just doing loops.
So yeah, this is all totally visible to the eye, but absolutely nothing came out. So what I did was I went home, told my wife, she was like, whatever, and I'm like, no, it happened. And I rang a friend and they said, you need to tell someone. So I Googled New South Wales UFO, and I think I got hold of Doug Moffat, and I rang Doug and then talked to him briefly, gave him the description. And I think he would have passed the information on to Mariana, then Mariana called me. And I had a discussion with her and told her about it, and she said, I'm going to send you one of our investigators out to have a look. And he's sitting in front of me, Shrub. So it was probably, the day this happened, it was just before an Easter, and then I went back to New Zealand for the long weekend, came back, and it was the following Friday that Shrub came over to my house. And I said, look, there's nothing there, and he said, there will be something there. So we put it on his impressive laptop, and what we'll do is we'll show what we extracted out of this footage. And I'm going to pass you over to Shrub, since he is the sort of investigator, and he can talk you through what he found.
Okay, it's a little deceiving, because if you play it back, if you watch this area here, it really is, it starts off as a blue sky.
The way that they're coming down like that, Liam, I think they're parachuters.
And you just see that there emerges a cloud. And I find it really interesting that we go from blue sky to directly a cloud that's almost dead centre and at the focal point. So I'll just continue.
See, look, the other one's gone way over there. Way up high. Shit, mine's getting all funky now. Yeah. What's even to do for a parachute? It's just that loop that I'm doing. Where's the other ones gone? There, look, it's way over there now. And now I'm seeing lots of bloody... Yeah. That's just good. Well, no, the idea is they should be looking at the whole time. Well, that'd be a bit hard. That thing there is weird. That's just doing loops.
And to go further, if you break down the frames, you start picking up all these really strange orbs. So, for example, now you can only imagine how fast these are going. And I've eliminated all the empty frames, so you're going to just see a lot of objects. So you can see here, it's almost like a perfect circle here.
So it was 55 seconds, and we broke it down to nearly 1900 frames. So this is what was flying around in that time.
Now I've used a piece of software which will magnify the object by 3 times and put a circle around it. So, and I've done that for the presentation so that it highlights what we're actually seeing. And remember this little highlighted area with the cloud? You'll notice that objects go straight to it and out of it. And there is a static object that just hangs around for quite a while. Not certain what that is. And you can almost see it come out from that direction. That's a bird. This is really great, this one. Straight in, docks, disappears, comes out again. And we have a version with edge filtering. That really brings it out. The bird.
Very busy.
It's incredibly busy. Yeah.
And there's another one, crosses. So there's about 4 objects that actually cross this single point. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
How about we showed you around the
Oh, okay. Yeah, so basically after looking sort of at other videos, I found a video on YouTube of a UFO over Iran, which is very similar, pretty much identical to what I was actually witnessing. So if we can find that, and we'll show that briefly and move on. See if it loads. And enjoy the commentary from the guy from Iran. It's one of the funniest things you'll hear.
Oh, sorry, let me not do it.
A lot of chemtrails in the sky today.
So remembering that what I was seeing was like an upside down parachute, which I thought was a parachute, but didn't have anyone hanging underneath it. So
object in the sky. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It looks very strange. Very strange. A very strange object.
I think shortly it starts to move and starts rotating, and yeah.
Really, I don't know what it is.
Oh, I think it's going to happen now. So you can see there, right there, is what I saw first. It looks like a parachute canopy, except no strings and no person. Hot chips. Just go forward a bit. Oh, no, here it goes. Here it goes.
It's turn around. Oh, what is this? Oh, very strange, very strange. What is this thing?
Yeah. Hey, so we might as well stop it and we'll carry on. So yeah, that's as close as what I found to what I saw that day. That didn't come out on my camera. All right, so what do we got here? We're going to go down to, done that, next one. This is basically where we are in Wetherill Park, looking, that's looking northeast, and the reservoir's over to the left of it. It's a big industrial area out there. There's lots of, it's just the industrial area of Sydney. I spent 5 years working there. That's pretty much what came and intercepted the UFO that day. That's not my photo, it's a sample, stock photo. I would be very clever if my iPhone caught that. But basically it was just a single fighter jet that intercepted the UFO, and they both left at great speed. And I didn't even see where the jet went either. So. We're going to 3 objects.
Did you want to talk about
Oh yeah, okay, so Shrub came over. Obviously without Shrub we wouldn't have got the footage we did out of there. Sorry, I'm not doing very well with this microphone. So basically Shrub arrived, spent a couple of hours with me, and when he left and within about a minute I thought Shrub had come back to my house, because a vehicle came up my driveway. I had a big house out upstairs, so I went out the balcony and there's a big SUV in my driveway, revving its engine, and I'm like, Shrub, it's not Shrub's vehicle, and then it just reversed out and took off. So this was instantly, after my sighting, I'm starting to get attention from someone else. Yeah.
And halfway through, I was a little paranoid. Actually, I went onto his balcony to look around. This is actually while we were going through the material. I was there for 3 hours, and about an hour and a half to 2 hours through, I actually decided to go. I dropped everything, went into the balcony, and I looked around for someone. No one was there. Went back in, and then I get this frantic phone call as I was probably about 2 kilometres away from this place. So, yeah, interesting.
So basically from that day, it sort of started on a regular basis. Every sort of 2 or 3 days, I was seeing something really weird in the sky. Obviously you can't capture them with cameras, so I've got a few drawings which I'll show you of just objects that were coming over the workplace in Wetherill Park, which is next to the reservoir. These are like big shining bits of metal. They look like sheets of metal, and they were just in 3 rotating around, and then they just take off at incredible speeds. So we'll just... This is, I was coming back from Jarvis Bay, and this, it's hard to draw, I'm not an artist, but just some of the shapes and crafts that you see. And this one was across the motorway as I was coming up to Sydney, just flew right above me. And yeah, it's basically what it is. There's no lines on it, there's no definition, it's just a black craft of some kind. So excuse my drawings. This one, I had my 2 children in the car, and I was driving down to Parramatta Mall, down the Great Western Highway, and I look over to my left, and this is sitting maybe 100 feet above the road to my left. I got out of the car and had time to look at it, and then it just blinked out. I didn't see where it went. I think I remember ringing Mariana at the time, and it was quite alarming, because it was, yeah, to see something like this just sitting next to above the road. So I'm starting to see a lot of strange objects, whether it's, well, from this day. So okay, this is the same day. No, it's not the same day. This is from my balcony. This is we try to draw what happened. It was at night time. I believe it was a UFO, or a crashing UFO. It basically was zip-zapping across the sky, and it went down towards Holsworthy Barracks, and also followed by numerous helicopters and so on. So I'd rung Shrub and another friend of ours, and they went out looking for it. And I could see what was happening from my balcony with all the helicopters, because it came down to here and then it went across this way. There were helicopters all around it. So
the red and blue dots are meant to represent helicopters.
Yeah.
Just read that. And so we arrived at Holsworthy, and we did a circuit of that, and then we went around Bankstown Airport, and we didn't see anything. But it was probably about, by the time we got there, it was probably about 2 hours after the sighting, so that was unfortunate. Okay.
Right, what should we do? We're going to go, okay, the flying, do the sighting on what is it, April?
Okay.
Okay, I had just come back from New Zealand. I'd finally bought a camera. Do you want to pause there? I'd finally bought a Panasonic video camera from Duty Free. I'm like, yeah, excellent, I've got a camera. Maybe I've been at work 2 or 3 days, and it was a Friday, these showed up. And so this is one of my first footages.
Yeah. Son of a gun, Donna, this is absolute gold.
There's about 5 or 6 of them.
Oh my God, we've got it.
This is just a sort of a shorter version of it. Basically, about 5 of them showed up. They look like, I call them flying sheets of metal, except they're sort of flying, staying still, going up, going down. And basically, I've got probably now 7 or 8 videos of the same objects, and they generally do the same thing. And one of them always comes down and touches the ground.
Really?
Yeah, and even I've got 2 or 3 videos of it coming down in the same spot. So I get a really good feeling with these things. I don't feel nervous about them. I actually think they're more a very good energy, or they look after me, because some of the things that I'm seeing and experiencing, I don't know, these things make me feel good. They put me in I have a good day when I see these ones.
How big are they?
I would have to estimate that anywhere from as long as the table and maybe a bit wider. They're a rectangle. What we've done with them is we've slowed them down in the footage, and when they're rotating, they're not a sheet of metal, they're just a ball. So they're giving off an appearance so that they want to be seen. They're giving a reflection, but yeah, they look like just a big ball. But yet, the reflecting is like, hey, look at me, or this is where they are. Yeah, so there's one, this is one dropping down. This actually came down, and if I was onto it, I probably could have got close to it. It came down in the street where our business was. But I didn't think of going, oh, it's on the ground, I should chase it. I just kept filming the other ones.
What size do you think they were?
They're all, I call them maybe 4 feet by sort of 2.5 feet in a rectangular shape. Okay. This is another one. Now, just pause this, please. This is, okay, I've got a camera which I really enjoy filming with, and I've got an infrared lens on it. I like filming in infrared, but I cannot transfer the data from this camera to anything. So this is up against my flat screen TV and then recorded with a Canon 600D on a tripod, so the footage is not the clearest. But this is, I'm sitting in a front end loader, and there's a huge black cube sitting, hovering out here, just rotating around, and it's ginormous. And I'm like, okay, turn the machine off, jump into the office, grab my camera, run out and start filming. When you zoom up to it, it's a newspaper. It changes shape. But this is where it gets interesting. This flies down to, which I'll get into, a building in Wetherill Park, which I believe there is a lot of aerospace industry technology being created in there. Which, yeah, I'm learning as over the years, and I'm putting one and two together and joining all the dots, that there are things going on in Wetherill Park. But also, at the same time, here come my silver sheets of metal. There was only three, I think three this day. It's hard to see it because I've had to transfer the data, but we will see them. Maybe just jump forward a bit to...
Well, I can see it. The room's very bright.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Okay, there it is. Oh, yep, there it is. So basically, they're flying horizontally. They're going up, they're going down. They're picking up speed. But they always come back to the same area, which is at the top of the cul-de-sac. I'm going to change... They come up to the same area, and they sit there. And one of them always comes down to the ground. And once again, in this video, one of them drops down. The $1 million question. She asked, why do they do that? So here it is, falling out of the sky like a piece of paper. Bird goes and checks it out. Goes, no, it's not lunch. Now, in the original footage, it comes down, and about 6 feet before the ground, it shoots off. So you can see that actually happening on the original footage. It doesn't actually touch the ground, it gets close, and then it takes off again. Now, these are all short versions of it, because I sit there and film these things for half an hour. That just have to be a plane flying past. Now, I have had lots of planes divert over to where this is happening several times and check out what's going on. I've had the 7 News helicopter sitting there. There was a case where someone got crushed by a pallet out in Wetherill Park, but just by chance he decided to divert and come and sit over our work, and you don't hover a helicopter for 45 minutes wasting fuel for filming, because I watched the news that night and they showed about 200ths of a second of the helicopter footage of the building site where the guy was crushed. So we're filming these UFOs next to the 7 helicopter, and I'm sure they would have been filming them as well, and I rang them and they said go away. I said, what's going on at Wetherill Park? Are you filming the UFOs? And basically said go away and hung up. This is the same day. I had a very busy day this day. I went home, I was probably putting the kids to bed, and I went, right, I've got to go and check my footage for the day, go into my office, at home, look out the window, and there's a big orange ball sitting quite low, and then it shot up, went across, and basically, and then I ran outside, and it turns into this sort of shape, and basically sits above my house for a few minutes. Now, it has characteristics like a balloon. I won't even rule it out as it could be a balloon. We don't know what they are, but it was a round ball at one stage. And this thing was probably the worst I've ever felt after a sighting. It didn't have a very good presence about it. Yeah, I've showed it to Mary Rodwell, and she quickly told me to put it away. She didn't want to look at it. Yeah.
Is that in the industrial area?
That's at my house that afternoon. So basically I had the sightings at work, and then this was at home about 4 hours later. What have we got? Been there. Okay. Maliha's birthday. Okay. My daughter's birthday. Just pause it if you can. So basically, my daughter's birthday. We had lots of people at our house. We were packing up, and I'm like, oh, we better go outside. I do sometimes get feelings. I generally get my feelings in the middle of the night, or 2 or 3 in the morning. I wake up going, oh yeah, I'll see something. But we're packing up, and I'm like, we're going to go outside. So this is basically go show up. This is just like a big white orb. What happens is when I see a big sighting, something else comes first to make sure I'm going to see the bigger one. So basically this is just when you zoom in on it, it's just a big ball of white light. I don't know how we're going to get closer to them. So
Lou, what proportion will give you a positive feeling as opposed to a not positive feeling?
98% of them. It's only a few that aren't. Yeah, and the government, they're ones. All right. Yeah, just fast forward that and we'll go to the next one. So basically, we go inside, we're packing up, and I go, we've got to go outside again. And we go out, and this is sitting above the house. I call this like a giant DNA molecule. Lots of people have looked at it and they go, oh yeah, it's a bunch of balloons. If it was a bunch of balloons, each balloon would have been the size of this room. This thing was ginormous, it was alive, it was moving. And I managed to film this for 25 minutes. And not at any stage did any of them come apart or...
Yeah. And it just sat there, didn't it?
Oh, it sat over the house, it came from behind me, it went that way, and then it turned and went over the city.
Just that one blurred, was that an effect that the shrub made? Or was
No, that's an effect of me probably filming the guttering of the house and the camera picked up on it.
What do your kids think?
At first, my daughter was too young, my son was like, listen to this guy too much because he likes to break down and make sure it's not anything else. So my son's like, it's a bird, it's a helicopter, it's a bug, it's a weather balloon. But as we go on, I'll let you know that now my son sees quite a lot as well. He's 8 now. So he'll come home and go, Dad, I saw something. I'm like, what was it? And then Mum goes, yeah, it came over the car. So it's sort of following along. So everyone, if you want to investigate it, I'm more than happy to get the original footage and people can look at it. It is incredibly clear on the original footage. There's numerous people watching this with me as well. Several times.
Keep at it.
Pretty intense.
Yeah, might as well keep going, sure. Yeah, what's this one? Oh, this was... What's this one? This was probably just after talking to Shrub on the phone. It was New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve 2013. We'd just been talking, going, yeah, we're going here. Cool, put the phone down, and then instantly look up and there's... I would love to be able to know what they are, but they're just balls of light. You can zoom in on them, you can put binoculars on them. All they look like is a glowing ball of light when you get close to them. There's no windows, there's no... Yeah. Apparently it's the energy coming out from under the craft, which is just glowing so much power, putting so much power that all you see is light. All right, now this is what Mariana's been asking me to do, and I've never done this, so this is going to be, just bear with me. I've had a lot of strange stuff happen besides seeing UFOs. That's getting pretty normal. We went to Dubbo for a sky watch, and Mariana took a C5 Sky event. I think it's run by Dr. Stephen Greer. And so it's a meditation, and you sit around and you channel and use good thoughts. I'd never done that. So we did that around the fire. There was a big crowd, it was a good crowd there. And during that event, I was taken on an incredible journey. And basically it's hard for me to talk about because it's just so surreal. I went down through a tunnel of light. This thing was just swirling and moving, and I got to the end of it and there were 3 grey aliens at the end of this tunnel, and they were very friendly. You remember, this didn't happen, I'm awake, this was during this C5 meditation, and they took me on board their craft and took me through an incredible journey, and I've tried to my very best to draw some pictures, but we travelled, there were 2 massive golden UFOs that we were in. I was in one of them, and we travelled through our solar system, and we used go to the next picture, Shrub, I think this is the last one. We used great big golden sort of tornado tunnels to disappear through and come out in other places. This was incredibly new to me. I was in sort of shock when I came out of this. But they took me to what I consider either planet Earth or before, in past or present, I'm not sure, but they showed me a dead planet. And we just orbited over it for ages, and I'm just looking out the window, and it's just like, if you can imagine the the volcanic shoreline in Hawaii, it's just that's what the whole planet was. And we just rotated, orbited around it, and then basically came to after the C5 and went, that's mad. Because it was. I've never done anything like it. So they are the drawings that are the best I could do of what happened at Dubbo. And it was a fantastic weekend as well. Thanks, Mariana, besides that. So I don't always have a camera with me, but I see incredible craft, and they're always out in Wetherill Park, and I'm a very strong believer that there is a portal out there. So if anyone wants to go to Wetherill Park and spend the day, go out there and by Prospect Reservoir and hang out and just watch, because I see so many crafts materialising out of nothing in the sky and being stationary and then disappearing in that area. This was on I can't remember the day, it's the 25th of May 2014. I'm driving a truck and I had to stop the truck. I actually filmed this with 2 cameras and nothing came out, but Shrub hasn't done his magic with it yet. But yeah, I had an iPhone and another small camera on top of each other filming this craft, so hopefully we'll be able to get something out of it.
Okay. I just want to point out the Kecksburg incident, which happened to have the same sort of acorn-shaped object that crashed in '65. I thought that was a coincidence. This is his original footage.
Yeah, this is the footage that I took, and it's just clear in the middle, but
Yeah. So we may as well stop it because you're not going to see anything, but this is the economy.
all right, okay. I have some really amazing dreams or ideas, and I wake up and start drawing pictures. I have no idea what that is, but with some help and research that we found a picture that was sort of similar to it. Do we have that one as well?
No.
No, but it was, what is it, the Galactic Federation of Light Beings or something, and there's a picture that was quite similar to it. It didn't have all the planets, but it had the triangle, it had the Earth, and basically what could possibly be is like Atlantis in the middle, but I have no idea what it is. So yeah, I draw it. If I can't photograph it or video it, I try and draw the best of what I can do with them. Okay, this is a really interesting one. Do you want to pause it if you can? I'm driving back down south. I'd moved to Kiama, I think, by this stage. I'm driving south. I was going through Campbelltown, and then you turn off at Appin and you hang a left. For some reason, there was no hanging left that day, and I just went through that intersection. I'm driving, and the road's getting smaller, and I'm convinced that I'm going somewhere to meet something or someone. So I'm driving, and I get to a locked gate in a paddock, and that's where the car stops. And the moment I stop, these guys, obviously I don't capture them when I first see them, but you'll see them. They're just my flashing big sheets of metal just came down. So this is filmed with an infrared camera. So as soon as I get there, they just came out. And I was in the middle of nowhere, but they obviously wanted me to go there. And I find that hard to talk about or even think about, because I still don't understand why. But
were you in an altered state of consciousness?
I don't remember turning the car around. I don't remember doing any of that. Yeah, but I remember just maybe driving home, but I don't remember actually leaving that side. And the interesting thing with this is, because it's an infrared, you should be able to see it all the time, but they just blink on and off. Normally, infrared picks out any heat source. Then yeah, you just have to bear with this one.
Infrared on, still juice, occasionally lighting up.
That's pretty much the best part of the footage, but they... No, I'm guessing it's probably around 3 or 3:30 in the afternoon.
You know that cloud there?
Yeah.
I think it is a cloud.
Yeah.
And you heard the kids because he's recording.
Yeah, because this is the camera that I use, so I'm recording this at home off the big screen. The next footage, same deal, it's off the big screen. I'd moved down to Kiama, I'll get into that shortly. I'm at home and I get the urge to get up on top of a hill out by Kiama, and sure enough, within minutes, the craft comes down and I start filming it.
Holy shit. Look at this. Just sailing over Kiama. It's full zoom, unfortunately. I can't get any closer to it. Jeepers. Look at that.
So this one's an infrared.
So you're holding like that?
Huh?
Cameras.
No, it's just one. It's the one camera. So I started filming it at first in infrared, and then I went, I can see this, I don't need the infrared, so then I took the infrared lens off it, and that was the first footage you saw. And I've got, these are just all short for this talk, but the video goes for sort of 10 minutes. It just hung around and then it just blinks out. Hello.
We lived down that way, and there were actually quite a few people who saw that.
Really?
Yeah.
I've had...
Even mentioned on the local radio.
Wow, that's awesome. I actually posted a bit of this on a UFO site in Australia, I'm not sure which one, and then a guy came back to me and said that it was his footage. And I'm like, then I went, what do you mean? And he goes, no, I filmed the same thing, but it was in Sydney.
No.
So yeah, I was like, okay, cool. So yeah, someone else had filmed it that day as well. Right. Okay, now this is where it gets interesting. Obviously, you're not just seeing UFOs, you're not just you know, going, oh, amazing, and so on and so on. You've got government departments that are really doing everything they can to stop you from talking about it. And like I said, they stopped me last year from doing this. I was physically pulled over by them, by two guys in a car, and said, you won't be doing your talk. And these guys are the late 20s, early 30s, big guys but lean, and you just listen to them. I don't put up with shit from anyone, but you just listen to them. What they say is, you go, okay. So basically, there's a lot of nonsense that goes on with this, and I also get a lot of marks on my body, like a lot of marks, and a lot of crazy dreams. Generally after the dream, so I'm not sure whether I'm away from the house or whatever, but I wake up with some incredible marks. So we'll just go through a few of them. This one doesn't look like much. It's on my little finger, on this finger. Now I was up in Noosa. I was visiting a friend, and I was staying with my friend, with his family, and I've been there for about 5 days, and I had one more day to go, one more night, and for some strange reason I said, hey look, I'm just going to pack up and go and grab a hotel somewhere. I didn't really need to. I was having a great time with them, so I went and booked myself into this hotel. And I remember watching TV till about 10:30 in the middle of the night, till about 10:30. I woke up and my right arm stuck behind my left head, and I'm paralysed, like completely paralysed. And I'm awake going, this is strange. And then I felt myself moving off the bed, and I was pulled backwards, flipped onto my back and lifted up to the ceiling. And then I woke up. And when I woke up, I was like, and had a huge blister on my little finger. And I remember during the episode, I couldn't talk, but I immediately said, well, just be gentle or be nice, you know. I had no idea what was going on. That's the first time something like that had happened to me. So yeah, there's just some photos of my finger. It's not very exciting, but it was a pretty amazing experience. So, okay, this. Do you want to show the photo of the drawing I did that's related to this first? Remember, there's a craft.
Okay.
Should be there. Okay. I had a dream that night that I was taken aboard a craft and taken and shown this big white sphere of ball, and it was floating over, and there weren't trees, they were bamboo, that was over water, and there were 10 humans in that craft or being of light, and all I got to do was sit there in the craft and watch them, and that was my dream. But when I woke up in the morning, this is what I was faced with. So I had 3 puncture wounds on my thigh. These red spots are just my lovely psoriasis, it's like eczema, don't worry about that. So I had 3 marks on my thigh, and I felt like someone had basically put a baseball bat to my whole body. Trying to explain to my wife that no, I don't want to go to the beach today. She goes, no, we're going to the beach. So somehow I drove to the beach and spent the day at the beach. Yeah, unbelievably, I was completely zonked. So these photos are in the morning. I took photos in the morning and in the evening. Slow down a bit there, Shrub, go back, sorry. So that is the Sunday night. So I woke up on Sunday morning, this is Sunday night. Now I woke up on Monday morning, have a look at it, look at the change in it. It's got a mind of its own. So these photos are over a week, and basically what happens is it changes shape, it changes patterns. It's incredibly sore. On day 2 I went to the doctor, and he admitted me straight to Westmead Hospital and said I'd been bitten by a snake. And I'm like, well, I was in bed in my nice house. I don't know if it was a snake, so I went to Westmead Hospital. They ran toxicology reports, they did all the tests and said, no, you've got nothing in you. And I just wanted to sort of say to them, I'm going to get the radiation machine out. But yeah, there's my discharge, just saying that there was nothing, no insect bite, no snake bite. So something happened that night. It was probably 2 weeks later. I had this on my left side, these 2 like prong marks. And basically the bruising is just intense. Like when you start getting yellow bruising and so on, it means it's deep. And yeah, when you've got no idea or remember how this happened, it's sort of concerning. This one's sort of got a bit of a pattern to it. And also I had, the same time as those marks there, I had 2 of these, one on each arm. This is pretty much the worst one I've ever had. I've still got it. This was in September, October last year, and I've got 3 big burn holes in the side of my chest. And once again, you go to the doctor and they've got no explanation, and then you try to go, well, can we talk about this? And he said, well, you don't need to see me, you need to see another doctor. You're like, so you're not really getting any help. But I've still got the scars from this one, and this hurt like hell, you can imagine.
Did that X-ray you?
No. Gave me some antibiotics. All right, I'll start off on a bit of another story. So I'll go back, just leave this. When this first started happening, the sightings, I rang my mum in New Zealand and said, Mum, I've started seeing UFOs. And she was like, she didn't go, oh, that's interesting, that's great, or she goes, please don't go out at night by yourself. And I always thought that was strange. So over the years I've rung her and told her about what's been going on, and she's like, oh yeah, just be careful. She's always been very relaxed about it. So she came over for this Christmas and spent a month with me, and I think on the 3rd night she got attacked at our house by something, and she destroyed the room and said that, she goes, I wasn't going with them, and my mum got these massive clamp marks on her arms. And so basically, my mum's 76. She's a proper New Zealand woman who keeps to herself, you know, very strict. And over the month that she spent with us, she would go, oh, I saw a UFO once, and she'd tell me a story about a UFO she saw. And then 2 nights later, she said, oh, I saw a UFO once, and told me another story. So I'm going, okay, Mum, this is good. We've got 10 now. So basically, I think the connection is my mother. As growing up with my mum, she's always been aware of how the pyramids were apparently built. She told us that we've got a $10,000 or a $10 million memory lapse of the Earth. She used to say incredible things. And so she was telling me how the pyramids were built back when I was 10 years old, and the scientists hadn't figured it out or what they were used. And she told me that there were steel staples in them holding the stone blocks together. And I remember all this clearly. So my mum knows a lot more than she's letting on. So it's been really good for her to finally start talking about things. So yeah, that day, I remember she woke up, told me, and we went down to the Kiama swimming pools, which is out in the rock pools, and she's in the water just scrubbing her arms. I'm like, what are you doing? She was going, just trying to get that fucking fairy dust off me. Because she called it fairy dust because I put a black light on it and she had white powder all over her arms, but you couldn't see it. So she was in the water scratching and trying to get it off. So something pretty full on happened to her that night. These are just marks, like you go to bed with nothing wrong with you and you wake up and you've got holes in your hand. Like these are really sharp blade knife holes, and you'd know if you had them the day before. And so you wake up in the morning after being in a nice comfortable bed with an incredibly sore hand, and it looks like they've been cut with a blade. So I get that on quite not a regular, but things like that happen. Just standard sort of markings.
Try using ultraviolet light?
Yep. I don't have any powder, they just sort of emphasise what they are. This was last weekend. Now on Thursday night I went to bed, and my wife goes, "What's that noise?" And I'm lying there going, it was like a static white electricity noise going in bursts. And it was just like, and so I got up, there's nothing on, I go outside, I look for the UFO above the house, there's nothing there, go back to bed, and it just went all night. And then it went all Friday night, and then when I woke up on Saturday morning, my head had swelled up. So basically, something was happening to me last weekend, which was pretty full on. I was in bed I was throwing up all weekend. Basically, the pressure in my eye was so intense. Go to the doctor again. different doctor, and he's like, Jesus, what's happened? I'm like, well, I'll tell you what I think's happened, and he's like, don't tell me that. Here's some more antibiotics. So yeah, it's not a fun journey the whole time. You obviously you get to see UFOs, you see things, but probably the worst part of it is the government. I want to talk about it, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully, I'll get home today. But the government have done everything they can, I believe, to try and shut me up. Generally, after all these sightings I have helicopters, and they're not necessarily black FBI helicopters, they're just little helicopters, and they'll just come and sit over my work. This was one at home. This is the pilot, he's hovering, he's not moving, he's just hanging over my house. He's looking out at me, I'm just giving him the finger, and I probably should have put the laser on him, but he just sits there and just stares at you, and he'll sit there for 10 minutes, and he's only, a couple of 100 feet above your house is rattling, and this happens after all the sightings, and whether it's a helicopter or there are black cars, or they always come in black cars, usually with Canberra license, they come up from Canberra, and so the intimidation is real.
No markings.
There's no markings on these helicopters either.
Why in the state is there?
They've always got their Air Force blue jumpsuit on, and they're not shy. They just stick their head out and stare at you, and it's just all a part of their intimidation. They've been told quickly go back to Lamb's house or wherever, go to Damien Knott's house, do the rounds. But the reality is this does happen. And it happens on a regular basis. I didn't have to because of this, but I moved out of Sydney and I moved down to Kiama. And the day that I moved down there, when I was looking at a house, pulled up, waiting for the real estate agent, in comes the first black car. We're waiting for the real estate agent. He just pulls up, sits across me from the road, and I get out of the car, and I was like, mate, and he's just like, just letting me know that they're going to watch me wherever I go. So.
How do you think they'd react if you took a photo of their car?
They don't care. I take photos all the time of the helicopters or whatever I can. There's just a van sitting outside my house. They just sit there. It's just intimidation, and I'm not scared of them, but it does get annoying. And then I've got young kids, a young family, and so I think about that. But in general, it has slowed down a lot from the government since I moved out of Sydney. I had my first major intimidation, annoying thing about 3 weeks ago. Not long after I announced to Mariana, I said, yeah, let's do this talk. At 2:45 in the morning, I had a helicopter that almost landed on my roof in Kiama, and I just sat there. I had a dream that night as well. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture of it, but I had a dream that I basically met a craft out the back of Kiama, and it had landed, and the occupants came out. They were a lovely older couple, and they came in and they wanted to teach me to fly their craft, and it's not the first time I'd met them. I'd had the dream before, but it was that night that the helicopter came as well. So yeah, there's a lot of intimidation from these guys and girls, and that's their job. I've got so many of these videos, it's ridiculous. If I had a camera strapped to my head, I'd probably, have hundreds and hundreds of hours of crafts and government agents, but you just can't. And for the last year, I've really tried to step back from it. I've gone down to Kiama, I've tried to go, right, start again, but there's just I can't stop looking up there because I don't know where the crafts are coming from, but the government has definitely slowed down on their surveillance and annoyance to me. What else do? They tap my phones. I'm on my phone. I'll be talking to someone who's also involved in this subject, and you can hear them going, "Oh, we've got them both on the line." They're not shy to let you know. A missing day? Oh yeah, Wetherill Park, where I lived in Greystanes. I went to bed on a Friday night. Woke up thinking it was Saturday morning. It was Saturday night. And so I have no idea about what happened at that point. I've just got so many things that have happened. It's remarkable that I'm still sane. I'll be honest with you. It's been really tough, but just balance it out. So basically that's my story and this is all in the last 2 years. So it's.
Yeah,
ever thought of telepathically communicating and asking them to keep away or to stop this process? Do you want it to stop?
I would actually like it to stop.
You could perhaps
Yeah.
talk to them and
I have, because of the people I've met through what I know now. I've met some incredible people that are going, you can get in touch, you can do these things, but I've never explored that sort of thing. That meditation we did in Dubbo was the sort of first time for me, and it was quite remarkable what happened. But yeah, I believe it's all about the power of thought and the power of love, and anyone can sort of probably get in touch with what's going on, but it's all in the mind and how you think about life. I've never been given messages, I've never been told to save the planet, I've never been told this, so I don't really know what to do with it, but I do try to tell as many people what's happened to me, and I'm very careful about it. I've met we've moved down south, met some new friends, and one of them's a helicopter pilot. Please don't write this down because he won't like this or whatever. And I said, "Oh, you've got a big helicopter then?" He goes, "Yeah. I said, "You've got cameras in there, infrared cameras, yeah, everything." I said, "Do you see UFOs?" My wife's like, "There's our new friends." And he goes, "Those bloody things, they're a pain in the ass." He goes, "We see them all the time."
One of the things that we understand more and more is that when we come here, we have a memory wipe. So whatever soul contracts we've made, in a lot of cases we have no conscious memory of it. So maybe, at some level you agreed to this, but our understanding as species is that you can always, rescind it.
Change it.
Change the deal, yeah.
Yes.
being approached this time to not speak?
The closest was the helicopter a few weeks ago, just after I talked to Mariana, but no. I came up last night, and I was nervous driving up, stayed at Shrub's place, and he came with me in the car. So yeah, I am nervous about it because I'm showing some things that no one's ever seen before.
You didn't speak last time when they approached you?
No, they were just annoying me from the sky on the helicopter.
The 2 guys last year?
I talked to them briefly, and they just said, "You're not going to do it," and I went, "Yes, that's fine." And then they got in their car and drove off. But yeah.
Wait, how do you know those helicopters are watching you? They could be just surveilling something else.
Directly over your head?
Directly, yeah, look, a good question, but when they come and sit over your house and lean out the window and stare at you, or park their car out across your driveway. I had another case where a guy showed up to my work, and we had a trucking company, and he parked quarter of the way across the entrance to the business, and got out there and stood there, and he was a tall guy, he had a black beard, and I thought, that's a strange looking dude. And so you go to approach him, and he went and jumped in his car, or just walked into his car, tapped on the glass. He's like, "No thanks." I'm like, "Okay, maybe you were just looking." I'd go back into work, he got out and was standing in the driveway. So basically this went on for a while, then I jumped in my car and left. I went, "Bugger this, I'm leaving." So I left, and as soon as I left, he came in, walked right into the business and said, "Oh, is Liam here?" And they're like, "What do you mean? You've been sitting outside for 2 hours watching him?" Because everyone at work knows what's going on. And they're like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, just tell him I'll come back. I'll go and get a coffee." So it's just part of their nonsense campaign.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
The number plate.
Oh yeah, the ET number plate. One of them had a personalised number plate that just said ET. I've got a video of it. I followed him one day. Yes. Yes.
I've got that you've been chosen to bring this out to me. So you might want it, and there's another person in America, so there's some stuff that's being followed. I've seen a lot of things, the same thing we got all over the place.
Wow.
So you've been chosen.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Did everyone hear that? No. Okay, well, it's basically she said that you were obviously a medium, a psychic medium or a guide, but she just been given a message that there was someone in the room that said that I've been chosen to pass the message on or pass on what I know. Now, that just reminded me of something. I went to, and I've never done it, I've only done it once, I went to a psychic, I rang them up and said, "Look, I want to come in." She said, "Look, here's my email, send me 2 questions. And then when you come and see me, I'll answer your questions for you." So I sent her 2 questions. I said, "Why am I seeing what I'm seeing?" And the other question was, "Is my family and I safe?" So I went in there, and she's a really lovely lady. She said, "Look, I have no idea what I'm about to say, but I'm just going to pass on what I've been told." She said that you were given a gift of sight, to see the lights in the sky. She said, I'm seeing lights and colours and different things. She said, you were given this gift to pass on the knowledge of what you know to everyone, to make them aware of what's happening. And basically, she said, and by the way, you're never going to, she said, this is directly at you. She said, you'll never know what is actually going to happen. It's too big for you to realise. But she said, you are going to be safe, your family's safe, but this is what happened. It was a lot larger than that. But she told me that, yeah, I don't understand why, but I'm seeing lights coming out of the sky and so on and so on. So it's very close to what that lady just said. Hello.
Hi. I've been a lifetime experiencer as well.
Do you want to, yeah, let's get the mics. Be like the talk show.
Into the mic. Yeah, I've been a lifetime experiencer too, Liam, and I've had a lot of those events that you're talking about. I only had the black helicopters once, and that happened about 18 months ago. I think I actually rang Mariana to tell her I was so shocked. But for me, it was like perfect strangers sitting on a bus next to me and saying very strange things to me, or just walking up to me in the street. And for me, I think, I'm not sure whether they're trying to weed people out, but it seems to me like, for me, my own journey was that I was really freaked out for a very long time, and I was desperately trying to protect my children, and freaked out because at least one of my children was having experiences as well, and I couldn't keep him safe. So you kind of, you spend a lot of time in denial and thinking, well, am I crazy? And then you actually find, like you have, that you've got witnesses, and you were saying a little while ago that it's a miracle you haven't gone insane, but the reason you haven't
without a doubt.
The reason that hasn't happened is because you've got vindication, and if nothing else, the unwelcome governmental, we assume it's government activity, is further vindication that you're not hallucinating or whatever. So to sort of, cut to the chase, I found that once I actually reached a point in my life where I was determined that I would make a stand, I would go public, and I didn't care what people thought, and I didn't care if people, tried to sort of assassinate me with words or anything else. I knew my own truth, so it was like once I was secure in my own truth, the harassment stopped. I had lots and lots of problems with the telephone, and I know Susie Hanson and I have never been able to email each other.
Yeah, that's quite common in this thing.
And even now, I bought her book recently. I was able to have an email communication about the book, but if I send a personal email to Susie, she doesn't get it, and likewise if she sends it back to me.
Yeah.
But other than that, everything else has stopped.
Sure.
So, I think it's like you standing in your own truth, and then they seem to back off once they realise that you are definitely committed to revealing that truth.
Fantastic, thank you, that's great. Yes?
Liam, that was such a fascinating presentation. Did you have a sense that, with the times that you've had, when you've had missing time and you feel that you've been in a watership and you've woken up with injuries, do you have a sense that they are harming you in some way?
I've actually felt 200 times better sometimes the next day, and sometimes I feel as though they might have fixed something or done something, because I've actually felt really strong.
Right.
Yeah. I actually, except for a couple of times where I've been beaten up so bad, but yeah, a lot of them I've felt really good, and I've actually I've been concerned like why I feel so good when I shouldn't be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it.
Have you heard of Judy Carroll?
No.
Okay, you might be interested to make contact with her. She gave a wonderful talk about a year and a half or 2 years ago, and she's the title of the book that she's written is Human by Day, Zeta by Night, and she talks, among other things, about all her experiences. And she grew up in a sort of a gypsy community, and that was presumably some preparation for what she would subsequently experience. And anyway, she talks about all the wonderful positive experiences, and the title of the book, she talks about having seen her physiognomy change from human to that sort of dark appearance of a grey, but talks about them being very high consciousness and very, very beautiful, compassionate intention and activities. Yeah, so you might.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Yes.
Do you generally have like an intuition about the sightings before you see them each time?
Yeah.
So
With like a lot of people, they go, I get the feeling, and I go. So I wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, and just lie there going, oh no, it's today, or and I just can't go back to sleep. I do get those strong feelings.
You able to see outside normal visual spectrum?
Yeah. Now this is, I would like to probably investigate it more, but I think I can. I do have a different spectrum, view of spectrum in my eyesight, because I've been with a certain person who's like this helicopter pilot, and I've had an infrared camera, and I've gone, oh, there's one over there, and he's looking through the infrared camera going, oh yeah, and he's like, how did you see that? And I'm like, because it's right there. And he goes, but you don't have the infrared, and I can't see it. And he's a helicopter pilot with incredible vision. And I'm like, okay. So there's a possibility. Hello.
A friend of mine's been getting their helicopters over her place of Perth.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine's been getting helicopters over her place and little planes and things like that. And she's been using light technology, Slim Sperling's rings. She takes them out and points them up at the helicopters.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm not sure if I'd recommend it, but yeah.
Liam, did you feel like showing that what looked like a bunch of balloons, that amazing sighting that you showed me sometime?
Yeah, we showed that. The DNA molecule, the
Was that one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But you've seen the original footage on the.
I did.
So it's really clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing sighting. Amazing sighting. Any other questions?
Oh, down the back.
No.
Hi, Liam.
Hi, Mel.
What was it that made you change your mind about being more vocal and being more public about what's happening to you?
Okay. Why? I believe every time I started to tell someone about it, I'd get more sightings. So if I was sitting down with a group of people and I calculated that I could talk about it, and I'd sussed everyone out. I'm like, okay, it's not going to be too devastating. I'll tell them. All of a sudden, craft would come down, and so I would get rewarded. I felt as I was getting rewarded for passing on what I'm telling and being shown. So yeah, that's why I chose to tell more people. Yeah, and yeah, it does. I've been a couple of examples, and this is going to sound a bit weird, but I was listening to Kyle and Jackie O one morning at work, and they had some guy on from Mount Druitt who was talking about UFOs and these pizza box shaped UFOs that he kept seeing in his backyard. So I'm like, that sounds familiar. They sort of could be like my sheets of metal that come down. So I rang up the radio station and somehow managed to get on. And I was terrified. I almost hung up when they put me on the air, but I went, no, I'll do it. And I talked to Kyle and Jackie O, and they didn't ridicule me. They were actually quite interested in what I had to say. So basically I'm telling the whole of Sydney what's going on. So basically I finished that, went outside, and the flying sheets of metal come straight down out of the sky. So, yeah.
So they're listening to Kyle and Jackie O?
They must be. Oh wow. Yeah. So yeah. So I'm just trying to think what else I should do while I'm here. I should probably thank people. I should thank Mariana, because she's been, basically I ring her quite a lot. So she's helped me no end going through this shrub. And my fellow friend down the back, Damien Knott, who and his partner Mel. Basically I've become very good friends with them because how did I become friends with them? I saw Damien on the internet, when I need to talk to this guy because I need to talk to someone before I implode with all this, crazy information. So I believe I'll probably be lifelong friends with these people because of the support and help they've given me, and it's been fantastic. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.